Next, we are going with the array command. So what is meant by array? Arranging something in an order, either in terms of distance, either in terms of angle, right? If you want to arrange an object in an array, like in the linear or radial or angular, we will go with the array option. So it is very easy. If you want to work with array, it will minimize your copy. It will minimize your move option. These two things will be eliminated if you're going with the array command. So here in the Revit, we have got two options. One is linear and the radial. Whereas in the AutoCAD, we used to find the rectangular also. But here we are having the linear and radial only. With the help of these two, we can able to work for the rectangular also. So first we will go with the linear array. So if you want to work with the linear array, first thing you have to go for the modify element tab, go for the array option from that. So from the options bar, click linear first. So select the desired options. Like we have got two options over here. One is group and associate, one is number. Group and associates means whenever it will array your object, it will be in one entity. It will make a group like a block in AutoCAD. So if you're going to specify the number, like I have selected the item and I want to copy that item something like some 10 times. So you have to specify the quantity like 10 times, 12 times, 25 times, whatever you want. If you want to go with move to second option is what? The distance what you want between the objects, that is called as move to second. Last means the first object is at 0 feet. The last object is something like at 100 feet. So in between, how many objects you need? Something like 25. So first object will be at 0 feet. The last object will be at 100 feet. In between this, automatically it will divide and place the 25 objects as per your desired inputs. Again, the constant, the same thing. Constant means what? Like an ortho. If you want to move only with respect to one axis, we will go with the constant option. Following? So here you can see I'm going with the array. In simple words, I'll go with a small wall, drawing a wall from here to here. Now I'll select this wall. In the modify wall element tab, so you can see we have got the array option over here. Can you see AR is a short? So AR. In this array, we have got two things. One is the linear and one is the radial. So first we will see the linear. In this linear, can you see group and associate means when we are going to make a array, it will be in a block. Okay, like a group in AutoCAD. So specify the number of quantities, like how many number of objects you want. Like I need something like 5 objects. So here we have got move to second, last or constant. You can keep constant always as on because it will move in one direction if constant is on. Like I'm going with move to second. So this object I'll specify with distance of something like 25 feet, for example. So what is happening? It has placed an object at distance of 25 feet. How many items you want, you can enter from here. Like I need something like 6 items. So 6 items it will place. What is the distance from center to center now? 25 feet. Following Mr. Kritish, I'll just again repeat. So select the object. I'll go with the array. So in the array, we have got linear as well as the radial. We have got group. Always keep group as enabled, or else what happens? The objects will shuffle. So how many number of items you want, you can specify from here, or else you can go with the work plane also. So move to second means like this, from this object, from the center of the object to center of the object, I am going to keep a distance of 25 feet. So when you select this, he will ask you how many number of objects you need. Like here I have given 2, here also you have given 2. If you want to change from here, like you want something like 5, so you can able to move with 5 also. So once it is done, click somewhere on the workbench, you will be out from that. Can you see? Now it is in the group. So even if I'm selecting any one, it is showing you the quantity. So this is what we have when we go with the distance between the spacing between the object. So if you are going with the next option, what we have got. So when you are going to select the array, and here we have got the last. Last means from the center of this object, I have selected this object, and here I am going with the array option. So if you are going with the last option in the linear, I am going with the last object. So select the point from here, and what is the last distance you want, last interval you want? Something like 135 feet, for example. Something like 135 feet you want. So I'm selecting this. So now what is happening? The interval of 0 to 135 feet has been framed. In between this, how many objects you want? Like I need something like 5 objects. So in between an interval of 0 to 135, it is giving you 5 number of objects. So generally when you're going to provide the railing pipes, the balcony railing pipes, so for those kind of objects, we are going with the array option in the architecture point of view. When you talk about electrical, for the lighting fixtures. When you talk about mechanical, for the HVAC grills, we can go. For the firefighting, we can go with the sprinklers. For the fire alarms, we can go with the detectors. So this is the benefit what we have in the array. I hope it's clear for everyone. Again, in the same array, we have got one more option, the last one. So when I'm going with array, so here we have got the radial option. Can you see the radial? So from this, if you want to copy this object along with some specific reference angle, like I'll go with the normal object, I'll go with the normal line. So I'm going with model line. I'm going to draw a circle. So this circle I want, I'll draw one object over here. For example, I'm going to draw a dining table, for example. So I'll select this object. So now I'll go with the array. So this is the array for me. Now here we have got the option of radial. So in the radial, you can specify the group and associate should always be enabled. Now specify the center of rotation from which point you want to rotate. Right now it has selected from this point, but I want to rotate this object from this reference angle. So how much is the angle value you want to rotate? Like 30 or the 60 degrees of angle you want to provide. And how many number of items you want, you can specify. Like I need something like 12 items or the 6 items. 6 are 36. So 6 items I use. So between this angle to this angle has placed some 6 objects over here. Between the 60 degrees of angle. If you want to change the angle, you can also change the angle. No issues with that. Okay, if you want to modify any value between this, you can also, like if you want to change the integer also, you can change the integer also. Like select. And here edit group, manually you can place. Like if you want to remove this object, so you can select and you can remove. Go with the option of finish. Can you see this is not in the group now? So manually you can delete the objects one by one as per the requirements. I'll repeat again to overcome the confusion. I have selected the object. I'm going with the array. So in the array, I'm going with the radial. So in the radial, go for the second option from here. What is the angle you want to specify? Angle between the object something like 60 degrees. And I want to place the mirror point manually. From this point, I want to mirror. So what is the angle you want? Something like 60 degrees or 360 degrees. At what distance you want? Something like at 180 degrees, I want to rotate. Not accepting. Array. So go for the last. The angle is something like 60 degrees. And is asking the items. Sorry, we haven't selected the place point. Select the object. I'll go with the circle again. I select the object. Now I'll go with the array. So in the array, okay, the group and associate is on. How many number of items you want? Something like 12 items I want with the last angle of 360 degrees and number of there is one more mistake over here. First, you have to provide the space point. So when you select, go for the array and specify the rotation angle first. So this is the rotation angle. The last number of items you want something like 6, and what is the angle? 360 degrees, for example. So you can see the objects has been placed along with the angle of 360 degrees, whatever the specific center point you have specified. So generally to make dining table So we go with this. Volume Kritish. Okay, so we have got two options about it. One is to specify the angle between the object to object. One is to specify the overall angle. But before providing these two things, you have to provide the reference plane from where you want to rotate. So if you want to work manually without array, it will take much time. So to overcome that, better to go in this. So if you instead of 6, if you want to go with something like 12 also, you can go. In one single click, it will make a copy in one single click. So as you can see here also, if you want to select the move second place array members as follows, click in the drawing area to indicate the starting point for measuring. Move the cursor to the desired distance between the members. As you can see from first point to the next point, like we have taken 25 feet. So as you move the cursor, a box is displayed to indicate the size of the elements. The box moves along snap points. A dimension display between the first click location and the cursor position. Click again to place the second member or type a dimension in press enter. You can go with linear dimensions for the temporary point of view. If you select move to last, if you're going to go with move to last option, so place array members as follow. First option is done over here. The first option was what? To go with the second option. Now we have got the last. So this is what is described over here. So click in the drawing area to indicate a starting point for measuring. Move the cursor to the desired location, the last array. Like you have taken something like 135 feet. So as you move the cursor, a box is displayed to indicate the size of the circle elements. The box moves along a snap point. A dimension displays between the first click location and the current cursor position. So click again to place the last number or specify a dimension, temporary dimension name to say, and again press the center. Always it is recommended to select the group and associate from the options bar so that you can able to modify the objects. Like instead of 6, if you want 4, you can easily change. Or else it will get exploded. So it will be very difficult for you to modify. So always keep group and associate. Once it is finalized, you can break, no issues with that. So you can see the same example. One object is there, as it is in the group, you can specify the quantity. If you are going with radial, the same thing. From the element tab in the modify panel, go for the array, click radial. So from the desired options bar, select the linear option. So reposition the center of the rotation. Like I have taken the circle as a reference and I have placed the center point of the reference circle to rotate my object. Later on, you can delete that selected with the reference circle. So the array members will be placed around the arc measured from this point. Move the cursor to a position where the arc of the radial array will begin a line radius from the center of the rotation symbol to the cursor position. So click to position the first ray of rotation. When you are going to work with array for the rotate, please follow the points which is mentioned over here. Because without following the points, if you are going to work, it will be very difficult for you. And use the same example which I'm using in the class initially, because first we have to have a grip on the commands. Later on, we can able to work with the project. So if the cursor snaps while specifying the first ray, the snap line rotates along with the preview box. Like if you want to modify the quantity or the angle, you can specify from here. So move the cursor to place the second ray of rotation. Like in the AutoCAD also, we used to go with the first point and the second point by looking at the preview. The same is that we have over here. So you can able to provide the preview image also, and you can able to place. So click to place the second ray and finish the array. If you select it, move to second means what? A specific interval you are going to specify between the object to object. That is called as move to second. If you are going to specify move to last means, you are going to specify the overall angular path where you want to rotate. So equally, it will fit the object between the move to last object. And always it is recommended to select group and associate, because later on, once when you place an object, you can able to modify, like instead of 6, you can go with 8, or you can specify the angle as per the requirement. So this is what we have in the array. I hope it's very clear regarding this. If you have any queries, now you can please go through once. Following the notes while practicing is very, very important. If you don't follow the notes, it will be very difficult for you to work practically. The notes look theoretical, but everything is mentioned in the own sentences. So even if you read once, it will be very clear, hopefully. So next we have got the scale command, scale option over here. So in the scale, again, we are having two options. One is graphical, one is numerical. Graphical means what? Physically, we are going to mark that from this point to this point, you want to enlarge the object. Numerical means what? You are going to specify in terms of quantity. Like 0.5 times you want to increase, 1.5 times you want to decrease. That is what is a numerical option. So scale graphically. In graphical, pick 2 points to establish a relative scale factor. Do one of the following. Select the element to scale and click Modify Element tab, Modify Panel, press Enter. On the options bar, click Graphical. First, we are going with Graphical option. So if you're going to go with graphical, so in the drawing area, click to set the origin. The origin is the point from which the size of the element will change. Move the cursor to define the first vector. Again, move the cursor again to define the second vector. That means this is the first point, this is the second point. So exactly with respect to half the time I decreased. Okay, divided by 2, it's almost 25 feet over here. So you can see the same option. I just delete this object. I draw a simple wall. Like in the example, we have got this wall. Yeah, I'll again mirror this object. In between, again, I'll draw a wall as a mediator. So now we have got this object. So what is the overall distance we are having for this object? So you can see in the quick axis toolbar, we have a detailed class for dimensions, but for the time being, you can go with the quick axis toolbar for a dimension. I'm selecting this point and this point. So how much we are getting? Something like 48 feet. So if you want to modify, you can, if you want to change, you can also change from there. Like 12 feet is a value here, 12 feet. If you want to increase, you can increase. But anyhow, right now we are going in a rough way. So I'm selecting this wall. After selecting this wall, I'll be going with the Modify Element tab. So in the Modify panel, we have got an option of the array. So sorry, the scale. So this is the scale. RE is a shortcut by default given by the Revit. So select this option. So now you can see in the options bar, we have got two. One is graphical, one is numerical. So I'm going with graphical. Graphical means what? This object from this point to this point, I want to decrease with some specific distance, like how much? Something like a 35 feet or 45 feet. Can you see? So I'm going to place in this way. So that 48 feet wall, automatically from all the sides, it will scale to 35 feet, automatically from all the sides. It doesn't mean that only from one side it will shrink. It will extract the object from all sides equally as per the composition of that object. Whereas if the same object, if you want to go with numerically, like this was the object, 48 feet 4 inches. So what I'll do, I'll just select the object. Okay, after selecting the object, when you go with the array scale option, so in the scale, we have got the numerical. So how much times you want to increase or decrease, like something like 0.5 times. So when you're going to select 0.5 and wherever you want to select on the object, you can select. So what is happening? Exactly 0.5 times it will decrease the size of that object. Exactly. Wherever you want, you can select that. So this is the difference what we have between the graphical and the numerical. Graphical means we have to provide the two pick points, first point and the second point. Numerical means you have to enter the value, like 1.5 times you want to increase the size, 0.5 times you want to decrease the size. That is what the option we have over here. So when you're going with numerical option, so from the element tab, modify panel, on the options bar, select numerical, enter the scaling factor. Like 2 times if you want to increase, like 12 feet. Okay, 6 inches was the value. Now it has been increased to 25 feet. Exactly double it will do. So this is what we have in the scale. I hope it's very clear. I hope it's very clear over here. Any doubts for anyone, you can please clarify. So this split element is a separate category what we have. Better we will discuss this in next class. Trim split is of one category. These things we will discuss in the next class. Show graphical again. Oh, okay. So you can see here. So this is the object what I have with me. So this object you want to scale, like you want to enlarge. If you want to go with graphical option, so I'll be going with the scale In the scale, in the options bar, can you see we have got the graphical? So graphical means this is the value of 24 feet, right? So you want to bring it down at a value of something like 50 feet. So first point I have selected, second point I have selected. Okay, now I am going to increase the size of this object. So you can see uniformly from all the sides, it is extending the dimension. You need how much? From 24 feet, you need to 50 feet. So manually, physically, you are showing the dimensions. That is called as graphical. If you want to go with numerical, like I'm going with scale. So in the numerical, you want to increase the same object with a value of 1.5 times. So 1.5 enter. Select the object. So I'm selecting somewhere at the midpoint. So what is happening? Exactly 1.5 times it has increased the size of that object. The next commands like split, trim, all these things we will see in the next class. But before that, Revit software is totally practical. In class, when I explain, everything will be clear. But when you practice on your own, you can able to understand how much you have followed. In class, when listening, it will be clear. But when you practice, it will be black. So you have to spare some time soon after the class. If you're planning to practice once in a week, I'm sorry to say that it is very difficult for you to understand. So daily soon after the class, if you practice, you will get the cards.